the H3H3 anti-commie lawsuit. Or, well, technically 2 commies and a pothead, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad, and it's more than close enough for government business, as Ethan Klein of H3H3 has elected to launch copyright lawsuit against Denims of I Will Thirst Trap Young Men into Socialism fame, and Frogan of I Hope American Soldiers Get PTSD fame, and someone who just took bong hits throughout the entire reaction video. Okay, well, that is certainly a fine demonstration of the state of the reaction community at the moment, so there you go. But the background for this is that a fair few weeks ago, Ethan Klein released the Hassan Piker content nuke, where he demonstrated, is the word I'm going to choose to use instead of alleged, that Hassan Piker is a communist sympathizer. Oh, yeah, terrorist sympathizer was the word I was going to use for, but that was a Freudian slip, and an accurate one. And Hassan Piker himself, in a rare display of intelligence, elected to never respond to the video or watch even any part of it, because he understands that being suspected of being a terrorist sympathizer is vastly preferable to opening his mouth and removing all doubt. A rare erudite choice on behalf of Hassan Piker there, however others were not so clever, as several people did react to the video, but the 3 individuals being sued did so particularly egregiously, either not reacting to much of the video, leaving their post, getting up and walking away and just leaving the video playing without them watching or commentating, or even commenting and stating directly that they were only doing this to siphon views of the video itself, stated Malice. Now, this is the reason why I am about 92% in support of Ethan Klein's efforts here, because on the one hand, Ethan Klein right now is messing with fair use copyright on YouTube, and specifically around reaction content. This is a system that works mostly the way it should work right now, with some obvious exploits and problems, but it is majoritively a functional system, and fucking with what does not need repairing is often not the greatest idea. But Ethan Klein's primary argument is, of course, that there are individuals out there who will provide not even the bare minimum commentary at times, literally leaving the stream or the video playing and then walking off for extended periods, not providing transformative content, and who will also do so explicitly, statedly, in a malicious manner to try and take views away from the original video. Yeah, no, it is difficult to argue against that argument, although I do not believe that Ethan Klein's lawsuit is anywhere near as ironclad as he believes it to be. So, as a little bit of backstory here again, Ethan Klein copyrighted the video, like 2 or 3 weeks before it launched, I think he said, and therefore he has the copyright for the content. Not retroactively, he owned it before it aired. And obviously, there is a certain expectation that things you upload to your YouTube channel will be to a degree protected. Now, this is somewhat undermined by Ethan's previous statement that he opened up his IP to anyone and everyone to anything, which is a rather dumb thing to have said when you're trying to do this. This is one of the main reasons, by the way, that I think that the lawsuit is nowhere near as ironclad as Ethan thinks it is. And additionally, Ethan's main argument is going to be malice here, that people stole his content, but they didn't just steal it and they didn't just react to it, which he continues to think is okay, as there are several individuals he has not sued. Instead, it is that somebody steals the content with the explicit intent to steal it, not for the purposes of providing commentary, but simply to reduce the reach of the original video. Okay, malice then. However, Ethan Klein is also being rather malicious with all of this, posting a video where he brags about creating a trap for people to fall into. that is not the kind of verbiage you want to be using ahead of a copyright lawsuit where your primary argument is malice. Another issue is, of course, that he also, in the video talking about this, states repeatedly that there were others he could have sued but chose not to due to his own arbitrary interpretation of fair use, which again is not a fantastic argument in court. Now, as far as I understand, and anyone who knows this more precisely, please do correct me on this, but I don't think you have to defend copyright like you do an IP. That is something I'm unclear on in the US, because often, if you have an IP, a trademark, etc., you have to defend it. So that if somebody is creating a knockoff version, for example, if you're creating Space Marines, then GW is legally obligated to take you to court or risk losing their IP and their copyright over that item because they have not adequately defended it. I'm not sure that's the same case in the case of something like a video or transformative. I don't know, but if that is the case, then Ethan has already shot himself in the foot because he has stated obviously and clearly that he is not going to defend his claim against other people who are potentially infringing against it. But again, I'm not sure about that one, specifically not on videos either, as well, the argument of stealing content in and of itself is a bit of a difficult one. Dicky one, yes. Where, okay, say I watch a video. Normally when I do reaction-style content, which I am loath to call it, the video ends up like 3 to 4 times the length of the original video because I pause and then I discuss the points, I expand upon them, and I give my point of view, okay? That, in my opinion, seems entirely reasonable, and that appears to be Ethan Klein's perspective as well. Fair enough. Is that then not stealing? All right, we agree that is not stealing. Then we come to the point of how much do you then need to comment on? Do you need to pause the video? Do you need to watch it in its entirety? Can you only use slices and so on? As one of the main arguments here is, amongst other things, that the people reacting to the video left the screen playing without them there, meaning they obviously could not react, they obviously could not provide context. Context and content. So the previous example, fair use as in transformative. You watch my video reacting to somebody else, not because you're interested in the original video, but because you're interested in what I have to say. However, if you watch somebody who is explicitly saying, don't watch the original video, deny them views, just watch me, is that transformative? It feels more like they are doing it not to comment, but just to steal, doesn't it? Which appears to be Ethan's primary argument here. Whether or not that will fly in a court is a bit more dodgy, because a lot of this has to do with, in essence, internet etiquette and internet culture, which then needs to be explained and framed correctly to a judge. So I think this is going to be up to the judge in question. If it's somebody who's a little bit more up on internet culture, they might probably very well find in Ethan Klein's favor. If it's somebody who is more technical and letter of the law, he's probably not going to, as then Ethan is going to have to make the argument that it's not transformative enough. And we've already seen lawsuits, amongst others by Ethan, showing that you need to change very little to make something transformative. One of the standards there, for example, is can the audience mistake the original video for your video? And if there is a, half-screen face cam of denim in the corner, and occasionally see, I presume, pause the video and talks about it, it would be difficult for them to confuse the video at a glance. So, in theory, I'm all for this. I like the idea. I think the world would be better if you had to provide substantive commentary to a video to be allowed to use it in its entirety without it having been, open to a copyright claim. But on the other side, the law here tends to be vague, as many of these are, open to interpretation, at which point you are simply arguing intent and interpretation. And obviously the big concern is that once Ethan Klein makes it possible to strike a video for not enough commentary, not being transformative enough, you have set the standard that there is a standard for enough, which could open up countless reaction videos to a lot of abuse from corporations, although I would then also hasten to argue immediately that corporations are already abusing the shit out of the copyright system, to the point where these days you can't even play a promotional trailer of a video game without getting a copyright claim on it. Not a strike, mind you, a claim which you then have to dispute, which can take up to 30 days, at which point, of course, your video is by no stretch of the imagination relevant any longer, basically killing the video. This is stuff that would need to be resolved in 24 hours or less if you were to have any hope of having that video remain relevant to a news dropped that same day. I'm conflicted here, I am. I think Ethan Klein is doing this not for the correct reasons. I think he's doing it because he's kind of trying to get revenge on these people. I do not believe his intents to be entirely pure, but nevertheless, I sympathize with his goals. It's just that I'm not sure this is going to achieve those goals, and I'm further not sure that it isn't going to cause a hell of a lot more negative consequences after if he achieves his goals. So, on the one hand, explicitly targeting communists? Good. On the other hand, potentially accidentally targeting everyone else? Bad. Best of luck, Ethan. You might need it. Until next time, I have been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.